Hello friends, welcome to Live Traveling. Today we'll see
Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, complete travel guide. Things to do. Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, a former mining town in the Bahía de Banderas is Bay of Flags. Puerto Vallarta today is a booming resort city with a cosmopolitan crowd. Foreign visitors first arrived with the advent of commercial air travel in the 1940s, and these artists and writers settled at the Gringo Gulch quarter. Mass tourism took off in the 1980s, delivering a sleek marina and high-rise condos, while over the last 20 years Puerto Vallarta has established itself as the Latin American escape of choice for the LGBT community. A holiday in Puerto Vallarta will be a joyous blur of beaches, tasty cuisine and bars. You can take trips into the Sierra Madre Mountains or out onto the bay, which has protected islands with caves, reefs and tunnels. Humpback whales come down to the bay at the same time as the tourist hordes, and are not to be missed on spotting expeditions. 1. Malecón. Beginning in the north at Hotel Rosita, the Malecón is a 12-block, 870-meter oceanfront esplanade leading down to the Zona Romántica. Nearly all of the palm-edged Malecón is free of road traffic and is constantly being furnished with new public art, plants and benches. The vistas of the Bahía de Banderas a joy, not least when the sun is going down behind the bay in the evening. All day the promenade buzzes with life, and it can take some time to wander from one end to the other as you'll linger to watch street performers and Papantla flyers. Restaurants line the way, and there are also plentiful stands stocking aguas frescas, ice cream or Jaliscan Tejuino, a cold regional drink made from fermented corn. Get a snap of Los Arcos, a set of 4 arches framing the view of the bay. 2. Zona Romántica. Since the early 2000s the Zona Romántica, south of the Rio Cuale, has become one of Latin America's biggest LGBT escapes. A curious thing about this remarkably green pocket of the city is that even though it's newer than Puerto Vallarta's downtown, the Zona Romántica feels more like a traditional Mexican pueblo. On its latticework of cobblestone streets are quaint bakeries, cafes, scores of restaurants, a helping of art galleries and an easygoing atmosphere in high season. Also from November to May there's a weekend farmers market at Lázaro Cárdenas Park where you can pick up artisan chocolate, organic fruit and vegetables, hand-pressed tortillas, cheese, soap, ceramics and jewelry direct from the producers. 3. Isla Cuale. In 1926 the Rio Cuale swelled and forked into 2 branches, leaving a new island in the middle. This was completely separated from the rest of the city in the 70s when the riverbed was dredged. In the intervening years, the Isla Cuale only has been sparsely built up and is a lush sanctuary at the boundary between the Zona Romántica and the downtown. There are a few places to eat, and a continuous line of open-air stalls selling souvenirs. The island is linked to the city by a series of crossings, the most recent of which was completed in 2012, joining the Centro Cultural on the east side with the Gringo Gulch quarter, named for its foreign inhabitants in the 50s, on the river's right bank. The bridge slopes sharply down to the island, and the upper section is a good vantage point for the Zona Romántica. For Vallarta Botanical Gardens. Some distance from Puerto Vallarta, these botanical gardens are a whole day out. Founded in the early 2000s, the attraction is in 26 hectares, a tapestry of native forest and manicured gardens planted with species from the Puerto Vallarta region and tropical zones around the world. One of its main aims is to conserve orchids, and these mesmerizing flowers show up across the gardens and are grown in a dedicated orchid house. There are also sensational palm, agave, cactus, oak and bromeliad collections, all accompanied with in-depth information. Wear a swimsuit under your clothes as you're allowed to bathe in the Emerald Rio Horcones. 5. Church of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Although you wouldn't tell to see it, this landmark in the middle of the Zona Romántica is less than a century old. Construction took place in a tempestuous period and had to be stopped during the Cristero War that engulfed central western Mexican states in the late 1920s. The church has also been affected by natural events, and the iconic crown atop the main tower had to be replaced after a storm in the 2000s. Within, check out the images of saints painted on wood panels, the carved confessionals, marble altar and image of the Virgin of Guadalupe. She is venerated 12 days at the start of December, culminating with Guadalupe Day on the 12th, marking the supposed apparition of the Virgin Mary to a native Mexican named Juan Diego in 1531. 6. Los Muertos Pier. A new monument for Puerto Vallarta's oceanfront. Los Muertos Pier is on the beach of the same name, which we'll talk about below. This can be seen for miles for its tall sail-shaped frame, and is photo-worthy at night when bathed in blue light. The pier is also the embarkation point for water taxis shuttling off to other parts of the city and the beaches in the south. Come in the evening to see the sun go down on the Bahía de Banderas, but be sure to get there early to find a seat. 7. Whale watching. During the winter in the northern hemisphere, humpback whales migrate down Mexico's Pacific coast to give birth to calves. This species is here from December to February, spending a few weeks in these warmer climes before making the journey back up to Alaska. A whole directory of businesses in the resort arranges whale spotting tours. Some trips are led by oceanographers and marine biologists who will share interesting tidbits and will know how to conduct an expedition in a humane way. Many cruises also have microphones picking up whale song, which you can hear on the boat, while the sight of a whale breaching or a newborn calf with its mother is something you won't soon forget. 8. Los Arcos National Marine Park. Go south around the Bahía de Banderas, and before too long this group of 3 small islands hoves into view only 50 meters from the shore. Los Arcos are best visited by boat, kayak or paddleboard, and will appeal to snorkelers, divers, and just regular boat-going sightseers who would rather stay dry. People swim under the main arch, in water that drops away suddenly from the shore, to a depth of more 400 meters in places. The rocks are perforated with little caves and shelter sea turtles, rays, puffer fish, and a wealth of other marine life. These granite islands are called Los Arcos for their natural arches, and are visible from the center of Puerto Vallarta. You can also drive down to a viewpoint on land. 9. Mercado Municipal. Rio Cuale. The municipal market on Isla Cuale opened in 1979 and is a shopping destination to be reckoned with. The building has almost 160 stands over 2 floors, and many of its stands are oriented towards tourists. You can browse silver jewelry, leather items, wooden toys, and all sorts of souvenirs on the ground floor. But the market really comes into its own on the level above, which is totally given over to food. Among the many delights sold at the fondas, food stalls, are endless varieties of tacos, baked onions, chicken and rice with mole, shrimp broth, and delicious aguas frescas to go with them. 10. Plaza de Armas. Sometimes called the Zocalo, the Plaza de Armas is the main square in El Centro and is framed by the town hall and the Malecón to the west, while the parish church of Our Lady of Guadalupe is only half a block away. The bandstand in the center of the square rarely sits idle. The municipal band plays here from 1800 hours on Thursday and Sunday evenings, and on other days there's danzón-style dancing. On the square, there's a monument to Ignacio Vallarta, whom the city is named after. He was governor of Jalisco in the 1870s and before that had been an ally of President Benito Juárez, and was forced into exile in the USA during the French intervention in the mid-1860s.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe.